What's up, everybody? This is your host, Blake Wright with Central Valley Charter Schools, and you are once again listening to Your Pace Podcast. We're already a few months into the year, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful school year so far. It's been a blast so far here on your favorite school podcast, as we've seen already. And we've already had the pleasure of having a couple videos of tips and interviews and an entire spotlight series. If you haven't checked that out or any of those out, you should do that right after this video. Just go ahead, make sure to subscribe too, so that way you can keep up on all of our school's amazing content that drops here on this channel. All right. So we're getting closer to that new year, right? We're November already. Holy smokes. So with New Year's comes resolutions usually, and we're not going to get into that yet, but to keep in mind, resolutions have goals usually, like landing a sweet new gig that we've had our eye on. Or maybe we just want to make subtle little changes in our life day to day. Maybe be more intentional or thoughtful. Well, there's one way to tackle all of these things, and that's how we dress, right? So, you may be wondering, how do we dress? Like, how does our clothes help with anything, really, besides just like staying warm for the holidays, right? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about. Dressing for success, right? So before I get into it, go ahead and leave a comment real quick below on why you think dressing appropriately or intentionally is important. So go ahead and pause that, and while you're going down to the comment section, hit like, hit subscribe, make sure that you get that done out of the way, set yourself up for success, right? And then go ahead and leave a comment about that. So starting off with some of the more obvious of the few examples I gave, getting a job. Right? Perhaps we can already figure out on our own as we talk about it, and as I mentioned this, ways that our clothes can help us succeed, right? Have you ever heard of the phrase maybe dress for the job you want? Well, it's a pretty common saying, one that, albeit a little cliche, but just as important. When we apply to get a job that we really want, we want to make sure we make a good impression, right? One of the best and most immediate ways we can make a good impression is by looking good and dressing well, right? You walk in the door, what's one of the first things you're going to notice is how they're dressed, maybe their physical appearance, right? So we want to present well. So a few examples, right? So just start with saying like me, podcast, right? Podcast attire, nice polo, totally fine. Wearing a tank top, probably not so much, right? If we're applying for an office setting job, maybe let's say in a big corporate setting, do we want to dress like this or do we want to dress like this? Right, we want to dress like this. Dressing appropriately to the job setting we want is important. So we're not going to wear a tank top. We're not going to wear, our favorite grungy PJ t-shirt or, and we're not going to wear sweats or probably even shorts into this interview, right? So let's look again. Maybe we're interviewing for a lumber company. So we're working outside with wood out in the wilderness with our hands. What would be more appropriate here? This one or this one? Exactly. So both of these kind of look pretty decent, right? We kind of have our office setting attire, which might be good when we're going in for that interview. It shows that we care, but doesn't quite fit the outdoor logging kind of idea, right? Both of them are good, but we're probably not going to be wanting to wear a button-up suit and tie when we're outside doing work, but maybe a flannel and some jeans looking nice, but still work appropriate might be helpful there. So if you're ever unsure about what might be appropriate to wear for an interview or for work, it's always a good idea to research maybe the dress code of the company or business you're applying for. Usually those things are pretty readily available. Do a quick search. Say, office setting job attire. And you can kind of find their exceptions. And even better, you can add that on so let's say, going with our interview example, when you come to the end of the interview and they ask if you have any questions, you could ask. Let's say you're not sure if we have the button-up shirt down, right? Maybe we're not sure if it should be jeans or slacks in the office. You could ask. And it shows that you care, you're giving an attention to detail as well. So doing these things are going to help set us up for success. And if we're still not sure, maybe asking a learning coach or a teacher even would be a great idea. All right. So now I could probably continue and make like a this or that quiz all day long about what's appropriate, which one would be better. But I think you might have the idea already where you want to dress for success for the workplace, right? So I don't want to keep you here for like a 40-minute long video touching on something that you're probably picking up already. But I do want to touch on something that's really important and another way we can dress for success. And that way is for yourself. So what is that supposed to even mean, you might ask? Like, I'll tell you. Personal success is just as important as career success, right? Being able to not only advocate for yourself, but also express yourself is a big way that we can feel successful. And dressing in a way that makes us feel confident and expressive is a success in its own. And the reason I mention this is not only does it have major social emotional learning implications, right? We're focusing on the success of our mental and our social health, but it also kind of helps shed a light on the fact that some of these skills that we learn for a job environment are transferable to other parts of our lives, right? So maybe something we learn for the workplace, we might be able to take some of those skills or those habits and apply them to our day-to-day life that'll make us feel more successful, more confident. So setting some time to be intentional about what we choose to wear for whatever activity or day you might have set out before you, you're kind of, in essence, setting yourself up for success for that day, every day. So just kind of a discussion question, like what types of clothes do you think give you that self-expression or confidence boost, right? Maybe it's a nice jacket, a very special hat, with your favorite sports team on there, right? Or maybe it's an entire ensemble that you have pieced together head to toe, that you go out and be like, check me out. This is what success looks like, right? So think on that, because for now, that's all for this episode. Nice and to the point, right? Let us know in the comments below how you've been successful and maybe how you dress for success in your own life. Let us know how maybe certain outfits have helped you get that job or, made an impression, whether it's at a social event or meeting somebody for the first time. Let's keep the conversation going, and maybe we can even help out some of our other fellow viewers. So leave some comments down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And so thank you so much once again for joining us here in our Pace Podcast studios. From your host, yours truly, that's all we got for you today. We'll see you in our next one. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be good. Have a good one and happy holidays.